guys, welcome back to Murder in the Midwest. I'm Brooke, and if you are new to my channel, I focus on mainly unsolved homicides that have occurred in small towns in the Midwest. Now with this Devil's Playground series, you'll notice I'm doing something a little bit different. I am focusing on men who have gone missing from the Centralia, Illinois area, and specifically an area on the outskirts of Centralia known as the Devil's Playground. So if you missed my first episode in this series about this, I will link it below. That episode was about Joshua Mahaffey. And what really triggered my interest in this is that at the time, a witness came forward after he had been missing for a few years and said she witnessed Joshua being killed in a satanic-like ritual out at the Devil's Playground. Now that was never proven by any means, and actually Josh is still missing to this day. They never recovered his body, but that lended itself to whisperings in the Centralia area that people have supposedly been having satanic rituals in this Devil's Playground area since the 80s. I am also going to link below the Missing Persons Awareness Network. I have gotten a lot of my information from them. They do great things. So please consider going to their website or their Facebook page. I'll link that as well, and making them a donation. They are a nonprofit that focuses on missing people in Illinois. So a lot of actually the still photos I'm using today come from a short video that they did about Jared Hanna. So I will be talking about Jared Hanna. He was 28 years old when he went missing in July of 2011. But first, as always, if you like what you see, if you haven't already, make sure that you hit subscribe. There is also a bell icon below. If you hit that, it will give you notification of when I post new videos, which is every Wednesday, every week. I also have an Instagram that you can follow where I talk about upcoming episodes. I give updates on episodes that I've already done as well. My Instagram is also Murder in the Midwest. You can also follow me on Twitter. That is just Murder Midwest. Okay guys, so we've got a lot to talk about today with Jared Hanna and a lot of just unanswered questions. My head keeps spinning with this case because there's just so many things about it that don't add up or don't make sense. So we're gonna start from the beginning. So like I said, Jared Hanna was 28 years old when he disappeared. He actually lived in Jerseyville, Illinois, which is north of Centralia. It's actually about an hour and 40 minutes north of Centralia. But Centralia is gonna come into play here in a second, don't worry. He lived with his sister Heather at the time in her house in Jerseyville, and he had sole custody of his two daughters who were really young at the time he went missing. I believe they were 4 and 7. So we're gonna go back to the day before and a couple days leading up to Jared's disappearance. So it starts with Friday, July 1st. Although Jared did have sole custody of the girls, their mother did still have visitation rights. So he dropped them off at their mother's house on Friday, July 1st. The next morning, which would be Saturday, July 2nd, Heather said that when she left for work around 9 a.m., she saw Jared sleeping on their couch. That would be the last time that Heather would ever see Jared again. So here's what we know about that Saturday. So around 11:45 a.m., Jared is on a security camera footage at a gas station that was just a few blocks from his house. He actually went in the back door of the gas station. He purchased a Mountain Dew soda while he was there, and he left. Please make a note, he did not fill up his truck with gas. From there, things get a little spotty. We know that he called 3 different locations to inquire about purchasing a vehicle. We also know that his phone pinged in the Alton, Illinois area around 12:30 p.m. So I'm just gonna walk you through this timeline here. So between 6:48 and 7:53 p.m., there were 5 phone calls from a number which has been untraceable on Jared's cell phone. I'm gonna put up that number on the screen. Now the area code of this number is 276. I Googled that. It is the area code for the southwest portion of Virginia. It is unclear to me whether Jared was calling this number or whether this number was coming into his phone. But either way, authorities have not been able to trace it. A little while later, so around 8 p.m., allegedly he went into a bar called Nord's Bar, and that is in Alton, Illinois. The bartender there said that he knew Jared and he was confident that it was Jared in the bar. We don't have any physical evidence, though, of Jared being in the bar. There isn't any security footage of Jared, and the bartender said he had one drink while he was there and then he left, but he must have paid in cash if he was there because there's no timestamp on his debit card or his credit card. So we can't definitively put him at that location except for the bartender as the eyewitness. So if that's to be believed, he was in that bar around 8 p.m., had one beer, then he left. Another eyewitness said he went next door to a bar called Big Muddy Pub. Now again, we cannot physically confirm that Jared was there. This eyewitness said he recognized Jared. We're unsure of the time that Jared went into this bar, and we're unsure of how long he was there. Again, if Jared was there and he drank, he paid with cash because there's nothing on his debit or his credit card activities to physically timestamp that he was at this bar. Now around 9:07, there is another unknown number that they haven't been able to trace on his phone. I will put up that number as well. This number has a 618 area code, which is the area code to the part of Southern Illinois that Jared was in. Now this phone number is on his phone at 9:07 p.m., 9:08 p.m., and 9:11 p.m. Again, it was unclear to me if that number was coming into Jared's phone or if he was dialing out. And then the last number on Jared's phone was at 9:13 p.m. Jared tried to call his children's mother, and it's unknown if that call was answered or who answered it. That's the last of the cell phone activity we have at Jared. So Saturday, July 2nd at 9:13 p.m. is when cell phone activity ends. So this is where things get a little dicey, and we don't know exactly what happened to Jared. What we do know is this. I'll kind of go forward and then I'll come back again. We know that he was supposed to pick up his kids from their mother's house on Sunday, July 3rd. He never arrived at the mother's house. The mother contacted Jared's family, his mom and his sister, to let them know that he didn't pick up his daughters, which was very unlike him. He was, by all accounts, a dedicated father. He didn't, miss time with his kids. He would have absolutely been there to pick him up at the time he said. Obviously they're worried because they're trying to call him, they're trying to text him, and they can't get through. So this is where the worry starts for them. The next day is the 4th of July, which was on a Monday that year. On Tuesday, July 5th, and I'm really not sure which one occurred first. I think his mother was getting ready to file a missing persons report anyway, but at the same time is when authorities found Jared's truck, which was a white 1990 GMC Sierra. They found it parked on Joliff Bridge Road, aka the Devil's Playground in Centralia, Illinois. Now this truck was registered to Jared's mother, Pat New. So she was the one that received a call from authorities, hey, we found your truck. That's when they knew something was really wrong. So immediately, obviously, filed the missing persons report, and the search begins for Jared. They're frantic. They can't figure out, one, why he would have been in the Centralia, Illinois area, and two, they have no clues from the truck itself. So when authorities get to the truck, the windows are rolled up, the doors are locked, they open it, they search for it. There were a few items in there that they said were like strewn about, but Jared's phone isn't in there, his wallet isn't in there, there's no blood splatter, anything like that. So there's not really any definite clues from the truck. Now Joliff Bridge Road, the area that the truck was parked in, I'm gonna put it up. It's this little pathway, and the truck, this is interesting because when you think of somebody running out of gas, which is what authorities surmised happened, you think you just would kind of pull over to the side of the road. His truck was actually neatly backed into this little pathway, and I'm gonna put that picture up for you to see. So that's interesting that he would have taken the time to like back his truck in knowing that he's running out of gas, but that's how they found it. So, they start search parties, they're using ATVs, they're using people on horseback because it is a wooded area. It can be dense in some places. And at this point too, I don't know if foul play was suspected yet. I think they just thought, oh my gosh, he ran out of gas. Maybe he was walking, fell down someplace. Like, I just don't think that maybe they thought anything nefarious had happened yet. So unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of leads to go on. So it wasn't until October 9th, so 3 months later, Jared's duffel bag is found with all of his things in it. And I'm gonna put up a picture on screen for you all so you can see the exact location where his duffel bag was actually found. So his duffel bag was found in an area called Crooked Creek, and reportedly it was found under a deer stand, and the bag was wet when it was found. So the picture on screen shows the yellow circle is where Jared's duffel bag was found. The red circle is where Jared's truck was found. So I believe it was within 5 miles of his truck. But that's really odd, right? So obviously now family is concerned, like what is going on? So inside of this black duffel bag was Jared's car keys, his phone charger, his shirt, his shoes, his socks, jean shorts, wallet, and his ID. Why was it over at this odd area? It's just so puzzling. It's so puzzling how it would have ended up there. One article that I read stated that authorities thought the bag had been there the whole time. I have no idea how they would have possibly surmised that, but that's what they said. So whether or not it had been there the whole time, whether or not it had been recently spotted there, I really don't know. So let's go back to the night that Jared disappeared. So we have a motorist that comes forward and states that he thought he saw somebody matching Jared's description walking along Joliff Bridge around midnight on Saturday. I think authorities are a little, it could have been Jared walking around that road. I don't think that they have officially confirmed that, because if you think about these little country highways, they are pitch black. I grew up in a small town, driving around country roads, you can't see at night. I mean, there's nothing to go by. So if you're a motorist that's coming upon somebody, you're seeing them for like maybe 2 seconds as you pass them. I think it would be really hard to know who exactly you're seeing. And it could have just been a man with dark hair that was around 5'7", which is Jared's height. I don't know that it was necessarily Jared. Now, Jared did have a distinctive scar on the back of his head and neck, so I suppose if they were coming up from behind him with their headlights and they saw the scar, maybe they realized after the fact that was Jared. But I'm also just a little distrustful of people's memories, because they could have seen somebody, then later read, oh yeah, this guy disappeared in this area, he had a scar, and did their memory then just impose that this guy had a scar? I don't know. But like I said, it is possible that it was Jared. Here's where things get even weirder too. So another person came forward that lives near Joliff Bridge Road, and they said on Sunday morning, so this would have been Sunday, July 3rd, around 8:30 in the morning, somebody knocked on their door and said their car had run out of gas, and they asked for directions to Centralia. This person said they gave them a glass of water, and this man went on their way. They claim that it was Jared. Again, that's quite odd to me, because if something happened to Jared, I guess in my mind, I just thought it probably would have happened Saturday night. We'll kind of get into more theories about that in a second of what I've read and what I just feel could have happened to him. The other thing that's weird is, why would he have asked for directions to Centralia? I'm gonna put up another picture, and again, this is from the missing persons video that they did on Jared. Jared was not unfamiliar with this area. Yes, it was quite a ways from his home, but the picture I'm putting up on screen right now shows a blue area to the left. That is where Jared's vehicle was found. The yellow area at the bottom of the picture is a Walmart that Jared had shopped at in the past. And then the green arrow is where he had previously taken his children to the park. So you can see that where his truck was found wasn't that far from like a busy section of Centralia. So I think his family's puzzled, like why would he have had to ask for directions where he was at? It just seems a little odd to me. So that doesn't sit right. I don't know if I fully believe that happened. I don't know if this person is lying. I hate to think that, but also, how do we know the person that knocked on his door was Jared? So let's get into some of the things that obviously could have happened to Jared. One, I've seen people on a Reddit thread talk about the fact, how do we know that Jared even made it out of Alton? Which, yeah, I guess we don't. We can't physically put him in Centralia. Now, when reporters asked his mother, what do you think Jared was doing during the day? She did say that in the back of Jared's truck, there were fishing poles and there was his tackle box. And his sister Heather said that the bait that he always used for fishing, he kept in the fridge, that was out of the fridge when she got home from work on Saturday. So she thought he'd gone out fishing, which is totally plausible. He could have, gone and looked at vehicles in the area and then gone to Alton, gone fishing, decided when he was done fishing, yep, let me go get a drink at this local bar that I go to. It still doesn't explain, though, how he got to Centralia. So a lot of people are like, okay, did something happen in Alton and somebody took his truck and his things and took his truck to Alton? I don't know. Another thing that I've heard people talk about too is the fact that, maybe something nefarious didn't happen. Maybe it's as simple as he was walking and trying to get to a gas station, and did he fall? Was there like a well in the ground? Was there a hole in the ground that he fell in and it's gotten covered up, or it's so deep it would be hard to find his body? That could absolutely happen as well. We don't have evidence that he was killed per se. Like I said, there was no blood in his truck. The thing that I find odd, though, is why was his duffel bag not with him? Why was his duffel bag in this area where you have to walk through a trailer park to get to it, and it's 5 miles from where his truck was found, and also in the opposite direction of where Walmart and like the busier area of Centralia is? That seems really odd to me. I did find, and I'm going to link this website below. It's a very, very interesting website. I really encourage you to go on and look at it. What it is, it's actually a medium. His name is Todd Shelton, and whether or not you believe in psychic mediums, but Jared's family had asked him to help them try to find and locate Jared's body. So with Jared's mother's permission, her name is Pat New, he has a list of their conversations back and forth and just things that he envisioned. She shared some information with him as well. It's really fascinating. It's way too much for me to talk about on here, so I'm going to put that link below, but I do want to share this little tidbit of information. So remember when I said his duffel bag was found at this crooked creek and that it was by this trailer park? So in October of 2012, this is one of the conversations that Pat New had with Todd Shelton. So she shared this with him. This was beginning of October of 2012. She said, "We got a call at our sheriff's department from a girl whose ex-husband called her and told her that he overheard a couple of guys talking at a party, and one of them said he and another guy beat Jared with a ball bat. He came to their trailer looking for gas or a way to get some, and they were partying at the trailer drunk, came out, got into an argument with Jared and killed him. We also had a report right after Jared went missing that someone saw two guys dragging a black garbage bag or something onto the property where we are finally getting to search. We are taking police and cadaver dogs. Family and the search team is bringing 17 people. It is the land to the south of where Jared went missing. The trailer this guy is talking about is the last trailer on College Road. There are 4 of them in a row. You can see them on Google Maps. It's when you first turn off of College onto Joliff Bridge Road. So there is an intersection of Joliff Bridge Road and College Road. So that was like kind of the last thing I researched, and I just happened to find it after I'd already read and seen everything else about this case, and it gave me chills a little bit because I remember they said this duffel bag was by a trailer park. And when she said that, these guys were talking at a party that they had killed Jared with a baseball bat because he came upon their trailer park, crazy, right? Now, obviously that was 8 years ago and nothing came of that. Now, that doesn't mean that that didn't happen. It just doesn't mean without any physical evidence they were able to make any arrests. But if that's also the case, I'm kind of wondering why Jared was walking in that direction in the first place. I don't know. And then it also means that obviously Jared didn't come to this person's house on Sunday morning at 8:30 because he already would have been dead at that point. So a lot of questions there. The other thing I think is interesting, to me anyway, is I hear that he's got a duffel bag with a change of clothes and his phone charger. I wouldn't take my phone charger out with me if I was just going fishing for the day, right? So that kind of told me, okay, he was obviously planning on spending the night someplace. So if he's driving to Alton from Centralia, which is a solid hour and a half drive, and if we're to be believed that he was at these bars in Alton. It's an hour-and-a-half drive, and supposedly somebody saw him at midnight on Joliff Bridge Road. That means he left Alton around 10:30. To me, I was like, okay, was he seeing a girl that lived in Centralia? Why else was he going there late at night? Why else did he have an overnight bag packed and ready to go? You know, I guess you can theorize, well, if he was going out fishing all day in Alton, and maybe he knew he'd get sweaty, it was July, brought a change of clothes to change into before he went to the bars in Alton, but why bring your phone charger as well? That just, I don't know, that screams to me like I'm planning on spending the night someplace. But nobody has come forward, as far as I know, to say, yep, you know, Jared was meeting up with me or he was supposed to come to my house. Remember, one of the last calls he had on his phone was a 618 area code, and that is Southern Illinois. They've never been able to find out who that number belonged to. So I don't know, it just makes me think, like, was he on a dating site or something like that and he was planning to meet up with somebody? I don't know. There's a lot of theories involved here. Another thing that I think is interesting is I can't figure out why his car was on Joliff Bridge Road. I actually Google mapped from Alton to Centralia to figure out what routes it would give me. And it gave me 3 different routes that I could take, none of which were Joliff Bridge Road. So I actually had to put Joliff Bridge Road into the directions from Alton before it gave me specific directions to take that way. You know, unless whoever he was meeting up lived over there or in that general direction. Again, I don't know. You know, there's a lot of just unanswered questions here. So I don't know, guys, what do you think? You know, what do you think happened to Jared? Do you think it's as simple as, oh my gosh, his body is, you know, he fell down a hole or he fell down a shaft or something like that while he was going to get gas? Do you think too, this kind of gives me a little bit shades of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Do you think he was walking along the road and somebody accidentally hit him with their car and they tried to cover it up? Do you think that, you know, unfortunately something happened where he knocked on the wrong person's door and got into an argument looking for gas and they ended up killing him? Do you think it's something weird with the Devil's Playground? Do you think that he, you know, accidentally just was in the wrong place at the wrong time and people were doing a little ritual? I don't know. There's just so many questions here, so many questions. So I'm gonna put up the number to call if you do know anything. There's a local number that you can call. You can also call Crime Stoppers as well. It's actually the Clinton County Crime Stoppers. They have a $5,000 reward for information that leads to Jared Hanna. Or you can call the Clinton County Sheriff's Office. I'm gonna put up that number, 618-594-4555. A lot to think about with Jared Hanna. Definitely one that I've been thinking about a lot, just what possibly could have happened to him. Why was he traveling to Centralia? I hope for his family's sake. I hope for his daughter's sakes, because they are now, you know, in their late teens and obviously missed out on a lot of time with their dad. I hope for their family's sake that they eventually get the answers they need one of these days. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure I'm gonna do another episode in the Devil's Playground series, so make sure that you catch that one too. Have a good one.